Now we've reached the final step for determining the best Temptrol valve for you: connections and installation. In the previous video, valve body and options, we mentioned that everything in that video happens behind the wall, and the same is true for this video as well. Also in that video, we touched on the various valve options and piping connections. In this video, we'll go a bit more in depth on those options and connections, and we'll show how they'll make the installation process go much smoother. Now, depending on your situation and your skill level, you may need to get others involved, like a plumber, a contractor, or a designer, when it comes to determining options for piping connections. Every installation is different, so just make sure you've considered all the factors and that you're installing your new shower valve so it will comply with local and state codes. Now, enough of that. Let's get on to connections and installation. Let's take a look back at the list of valve options that were discussed when we were sorting through the valve numbering sequence, and I'll explain a little bit more about how each one applies to different Temptrol installations. Rapid install bracket. The rapid install bracket was created to make Temptrol installations much faster and more accurate in the field. It takes the guesswork out of roughing the valve in the wall, and it's heat resistant, so you can solder the valve in place if needed. The rapid install bracket makes installation 3 times faster. It features strong metal straps that hold the valve exactly where it needs it to be in the wall space and at the proper depth. Temptrol valves ordered with the rapid install bracket will include the letters B, R in the valve number. Integral diverter on the valve. Temptrol valve numbers that begin with the letter S and feature an integral diverter are called VersaFlex valves, and they include a lever as part of the valve that will divert water between 2 functions. Integral diverters can switch the flow between any 2 functions. Volume control on the valve. Like the integral diverter, this Temptrol valve with volume control also begins with the letter S and includes a lever directly on the valve itself. Yet it simply controls the volume of water to a single function. The most common use of this valve is for shower only, so the bottom port is plugged. Integral service stops. Integral service stops are small shutoff valves that are part of the Temptrol valve, which enable you to shut off the water right at the valve. They are located behind the valve's faceplate and can be turned off with a standard flathead screwdriver. Integral stops are great for larger homes, multifamily buildings, or commercial properties where shutting down the entire water system during maintenance could be disruptive to other users. Valves that include integral stops are indicated by the letter X in their valve number. Integral check stops. Integral check stops have the same benefits as the service stops I just mentioned, with the added protection of check valves. These check valves are small but very effective, and they guard against cross connections and enable you to shut the water off right at the valve. Integral check stops are a great option for any situation where water system cross connections may occur. Temptrol valves with integral check stops will include the letters CHKS. Reverse seats. Reverse seats for Temptrol valves are used in unique situations where the hot and cold connections are reversed, either intentionally or unintentionally. In some situations where multiple Temptrol valves are installed back-to-back, like in large shower rooms or athletic facilities, piping may be more efficient to use reverse seats. A Temptrol valve with a reverse seat will include the letters RV, and there's a bright orange notification ring around the cap assembly to let you know the valve has a reverse seat. Test cap. A Temptrol valve can also be ordered with a ProSafe test cap, which is a solid brass cap that is fitted to the valve body for any number of reasons, such as pressure testing or water piping cleaning and chlorination. The test cap is fitted onto the valve body in place of the Temptrol T12A cap assembly and TA10 spindle to prevent these parts from exposure to testing and cleaning methods. Once these tests and cleanings are complete, the test cap is removed and the cap assembly and spindle are installed for normal use. Temptrol valve numbers that begin with the numbers 16 indicate that the valve will be shipped fitted with a test cap in place of the standard cap assembly and spindle. An important note about Temptrol valves ordered with a test cap: the T12A cap assembly and TA10 spindle are not included when a valve is ordered with a test cap. The best way to get the cap assembly and spindle is to include the letters TC when ordering the trim package for the valve. Then, just install these parts after testing is complete. Next, we'll talk about the types of piping for your Temptrol valve. There are many types of piping materials, and where you live and in what type of home or building can also play a part. Many new homes in certain parts of the United States and Canada use variations of plastic piping, such as flexible PEX tubing or more rigid CPVC tubing. Older homes and commercial buildings may have copper piping that is connected with either sweat connection fittings or with the newer ProPress connection system. There are so many variables for piping materials, and you may even see more than one type of piping material used in the same home. Temptrol valves are available with factory-installed connections for all approved piping materials used in the US and Canada. Temptrol valves can be ordered for copper sweat, also referred to as soldered, threaded male IPS, iron pipe size, CPVC, PEX Crimp, PEX Cold Expansion, copper ProPress. Copper sweat and IPS threaded. Sweating or soldering is a method for joining copper pipe to fittings using metal solder that's heated with a torch. IPS is an abbreviation for iron pipe size, which is an industry standard for threaded rigid piping that screws together with threaded grooves on the ends of the piping. Standard Temptrol valves are manufactured with combination copper sweat and IPS connections on the hot and cold ports. So if you're planning on installing your valve using either of these methods, then there's no need to add a modifier to your valve number. CPVC. CPVC tubing is a rigid tubing that is cut to length, and the fittings are connected using a special glue. It's lightweight, easy to install, and since it's plastic, it's resistant to corrosion. Temptrol valves are available with CPVC connectors, factory installed. Just add the modifier CP in the valve number. PEX. PEX is a flexible tubing that is available in either straight 10-foot lengths or longer coils. PEX is inexpensive, easy to install, and again, resistant to corrosion because it's a type of plastic. PEX is most commonly connected using one of two methods, crimping and cold expansion. Crimping is a method where a brass barbed fitting is inserted into the PEX tubing, and a metal ring is then crimped over the joint, making a tight seal between the fitting and the tubing. Cold expansion is a similar method using the same brass fittings, but a plastic ring is used instead of metal. The tubing and the plastic ring are expanded using a power tool, then the brass fitting is quickly inserted. The expanded plastic will return to its original size, making a tight seal on the brass fitting. Temptrol valves are available with factory-installed fittings for both PEX joining methods. For PEX crimp valves, add the modifier P1, and for PEX cold expansion, add the modifier P2. The final connection method we'll discuss today is known as ProPress for copper tubing. The ProPress method uses specialized ProPress fittings on traditional copper tubing, yet the fittings are crimped on rather than heated with a torch like the sweat method. It's quick, durable, and since there's no flame, installation is safer. Temptrol valves are available with factory-installed ProPress fittings by adding the modifier P3 when ordering. Installing Temptrol valves is easy once you've sorted out all the other aspects we've discussed in these videos. Temptrol valves are designed for compact, simple installations. Temptrol ports are all on the same plane, and the valve fits inside a tight 2x3 wall space. The Temptrol valve also includes stringer mounts cast directly into the valve body, so it can be easily fastened to studs, blocking, or backer material. For the quickest, most stable installation for any Temptrol valve, use the rapid install bracket. If you installed Temptrol valves in the past, you'll be amazed at how much faster installation goes with the rapid install bracket. So that concludes our video series on how to order a Temptrol valve. It's been quite a journey, and hopefully you learned a lot about the versatility and reliability of Temptrol, and maybe had a laugh or two along the way. We hope you continue to use these videos as a resource going forward, and always remember that Symmons has your back. If you have any questions about the installation of a Temptrol valve or any Symmons product, give us a call at 1-800-SYMMONS or visit us at symmons.com. From all of us here at Symmons, thanks for watching.